Welcome back to the Master Your Money podcast with me, Marini Jackson, your host and guide to mastering your money, building wealth, and creating financial freedom. Let's dive into today's episode. So, today we're going to talk about the fastest way to pay off your debt. Now, this is the behavior version because some of the things we're going to talk about, some people may feel a little bit differently about it between mathematics and behavior. So, most people think that paying off debt is only about the math. It's not. It's about behavior. And before you click off and say, no, 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 I don't want to hear this, uh, let's think about it. You don't stay in debt because you can't calculate interest rates. You stay in debt because of your money habits, emotions, stress, and inconsistency that keep interrupting your plans. And that's why the debt snowball method works so well. Now, you may have heard of a debt avalanche and a debt snowball, and I think of it this way. Would it be easier to recover if a snowball hit you or if you got caught in an avalanche? So you just let me know. Think about it for a minute. Which would you survive better? So the debt snowball method works so well because the debt snowball says you're going to list your debts from the smallest amount to the largest, and you're going to pay minimums on everything. So all of your debts, and then you're going to attack the smallest debt first. And once it's gone, you'll roll that payment into the next debt. Now, mathematically, some people will argue, well, wouldn't it make sense to pay the debt that has the highest interest rate first? Mathematically, yeah, sometimes yes. But behaviorally, the debt snowball wins because people need momentum. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, about my journey, and I've shared this before in other episodes, but really, really wanted to bring it home here. So, when I began working for the employer where I currently work many years ago, I started, as I said in my last episode, about my first manager with that company retiring, that I started out as a contractor. So there was a certain amount of money I made as a contractor versus a direct employee, but we'll digress for that conversation a little later about the pay difference. But what I decided to do, especially I don't like lots of debt. Just that's just me being transparent. When I graduated from college, there were some debts that were forgiven because I was a Peace Corps volunteer, but I still had plenty of debt after coming back from the Peace Corps that needed to be paid every single month. So what I did was working. I'd occasionally, go have lunch with coworkers, sometimes go to the cafeteria for breakfast, things of that nature. But when I really became serious about my finances and started thinking about becoming a homeowner, what I did is I started to look at my debts, and they weren't huge. Like the smaller debts definitely weren't huge amounts of money. I did as I shared. I listed out those student loan debts because that was basically my debt that I had at that time. Only debt. Listed those debts out from least to greatest, paid the minimums on each of those, and then also attacked the smallest one. Like I think the smallest one I had, the payment for that was $30, and I'm like, of course I have $30. I have money for all of it, but I was like, do I have an extra $30 after in my pay from my take home pay after giving tithes, paying my debts, giving funds? At that time I was living with my mother. at home with her after all of that said and done, and whatever small things I needed, like toiletries. Do I have enough where I can pay more? And the answer was yes. And I applied extra funds to that smallest debt. And it got, I got so proficient at it, I was paying double payments, triple of what I owed just to get rid of that debt. So I was like, wow, this is only, a couple $100. Let me see how fast I can pay it off. Paid it off. And what I did is I rolled the money I was paying on the smallest debt to the next smallest debt and paid that off and continued. Now when I got to the largest student loan, that one I knew I probably wasn't gonna be able to pay double or triple of that at that moment in my life. So that worked for me. It gave me some quick wins for my finances because it gave me that boost of confidence I needed to know that I could do this. With the debt avalanche, you're more so focused on the interest rates, paying off the high interest rates, and that for me, just the interest rates were pretty similar for those student loans. It was just the balances were different for those loans. So for me, it gave me that momentum, that quick win, that encouragement to keep going by using the debt snowball method. So those small wins created motivation for me. And people need motivation because sometimes when we're starting to pay those debts, we can get a little bit lax or inconsistent, and we get in a worse position than what we were attempting to get ourselves out of because we become inconsistent with our, I want to say giving, with our paying off those debts. So when you knock out that one debt quickly, like I said, when it was like, oh wow, I can manage paying for all of these. And then when I was paying the double and triple on that smallest and it was paid off, I was like, wow, I can do this. And your mind, you're telling yourself, your brain is saying, I can actually do this. And that confidence changes your behavior. You stop avoiding your bank account. You stop feeling defeated. You're making smarter spending decisions, and you become more emotionally committed to the process. And now with those final two about making smarter spending decisions, I began cutting back on eating out with my coworkers. Sometimes they go off campus to go to a local restaurant. Some people, more days of the week than not, they eat out. So out of that 5 day work week, just imagine if you were someone who were buying breakfast and lunch. And although prices weren't as high as they are now, it's still a significant amount of money that could potentially come out of your pocket. So what I started doing is started what some people call brown bagging, or bringing my own breakfast, bringing my own lunch and snacks. And with that money saved, I was able to redirect that to paying off my debts. And then, like I said, with the last point, becoming more emotionally committed to the process. That is something I can definitely see or saw for myself. So, debt payoff isn't necessarily about filling out spreadsheets. I know some people love spreadsheets, they love putting a Google sheet, Excel sheet, even pen and paper, things like that. That's fine, but you want to be consistent. It's about consistency. And consistency grows when you see progress. Like I said, for me, when I saw, oh man, I paid that off pretty quick. I wonder how quick I can pay off this next one, and started arranging my life, my money, so that I could pay off those debts quickly. But the real enemy is discouragement. And a lot of people quit because they are trying to attack everything in their finances at once, or their life. I'll say that too. If you have multiple cards, multiple loans, multiple financial goals, and you're getting multiple strategies, the confused mind does nothing. Like I know I have someone close to me who they're like, well, I watched this person and this person gave some financial tips, and I followed this person, this influencer, this, and honestly, I haven't heard them say, this is what I do on a consistent basis with my finances. So just be mindful. Don't try to don't try to eat the whole elephant. Just do it one bite at a time. And mentally, that really becomes exhausting because you're trying to operate a shell game, and it's or you're trying to juggle and keep all the balls in the air, and it's not going to work very well without you being burned out. And when everything is urgent and nothing gets attacked with intensity, so you have to pick excuse me, that one bill, that one debt. And this is why assignment is important. um, you don't want to do like 5 debts and you're all emotional about it. You want to attack one target strategically. Like I said, I had multiple student loans. I already knew the biggest one, which had the biggest interest rate. I, it just, in my mind at that time, it felt impossible to do that. But a couple $100, pay that off. Yes, I can do that. Several thousands of dollars, that's going to take a while. So, this is what your assignment is tonight. I want you to write down every debt, your minimum payment amount, your balance for those, and the interest rate. And then you're going to circle one, just one debt. And that's going to become your focus debt. So, what you're going to do again, you're going to pay the minimum on all of your debts. But with that one that we're focusing on, every extra dollar that you make. So whether you're doing a side hustle and you're making extra money, you're working overtime, you get your tax refund, any gifts, bonuses, any type of reduced spending, everything is going towards that one debt. It may seem hard, but let's focus. Just that one debt. Pick one. I strongly recommend the smallest one because focus money is going to move faster than scattered money. Remember, I said you're juggling, you're trying to figure it all out. One, you're still paying everything, but one, you're going to focus and have that intensity and that acceleration that you are focusing specifically on paying off that debt. So imagine trying to dig 5 holes at one time. Okay, you only have 2 hands, 5 holes. You're going to be exhausted and you're going to be just still scratching the surface if you try to dig 5 holes at once. But if you dig one hole deeply enough, you're finally going to break through. It's going to switch something in your brain from that this is impossible to possible. And this is how debt freedom works when you finally break through and the behavior shift that changes everything. And when you start winning with money, people who win with money, they don't say, well, I'll try. Or those who are losing weight, I'll throw that in there too. That's a bonus. Oh, I'll just try. I'll try to go to the gym. No, we have intention. They start saying, this debt is getting eliminated, or these extra 5 pounds, I'm getting them off. Your mindset and that particular mindset that you have creates intentionality. You're intentional about it. You're intentional about not stopping at the drive-through. You're intentional on not stopping at your favorite store just to browse and see what they have and wonder why you're ending up in the shopping line or the checkout line and wondering 6 months from now, why did I buy this? You're being intentional. You're going to stop negotiating with yourself at Target. You're going to stop having those emotional spending habits on your stressful days, and you're going to stop finding lifestyles you can't actually afford. And some practical tips that'll help you speed up your debt payoff. Number one, automate your minimum payments if you can. I say that because, or the if you can part, but automate them. Make sure it's a date depending on your particular pay periods. Some people may get paid weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. If you're someone who's doing side hustle, it may be a little more sporadic, but automate those minimum payments and make sure you have the funds in the account. So if you know that you get paid on the first and the 15th of the month, don't schedule something to come out on a time that you know you're not going to have those funds. Automate it. If you're like, I get paid on the 15th, I don't want to be stuck in the Target checkout line because I saw something I thought was really interesting. Set that payment up on for the 15th. Number two, we're going to create what we call a debt sprint, and you're going to pick 90 days to have focused sacrifice. Now, this is something I did, and it helped. Like I said earlier, I ate out less. You have less impulsive spending, and you have less entertainment leakage. Like some people, they will find a way, make a way, create a way to go to their favorite pop, R&B, hip hop artist, country, whatever genre artist concert. They can find a way to afford the ticket. They can find a way to get a new outfit, find a way to get a plane ticket or jump in a vehicle and get there, find hotel money, but paying off their debt, can't find it. So we're going to have focused sacrifice. So less is going to be more, is going to be more helpful for you. And that temporary intensity is going to create permanent results for you. Again, your mind is going to stop saying, I'll try. And when you see how having this focused intensity works for you, you're going to want that more and more. Also, you're going to increase your income aggressively. And debt payoff definitely accelerates faster through increasing your income through more than just restricting things. I can say this back then, I when I was paying off those student loan debts, I only had that one income from my job. But some things that you can do to make sure you're paying things off quicker is you can sell stuff, i.e., those old items you got from Target that you're wondering why you bought 6 months ago. Sell it. Just sell it. Sell it. Just sell it. I know some people are like, oh, I'm going to donate it. Sell it. You can do like Uber or Lyft. You can drive on the weekends. You can freelance. There are plenty of sites online to do freelance work if there's a particular skill or talent that you have that you are proficient in. You can also, depending on your job, do overtime, request extra shifts. You can do coaching. Like if there's like a skill or talent, you may know how to tutor students of a certain age range. Offer that. Or you can create digital products as well. Also, number four, you're going to celebrate your milestones responsibly. Now, I always said, and last year I finally paid off my final, the biggest student loan debt. And for years, like when I was like literally when I was in college many years ago, I said, when I pay off my final student loan, I'm going to throw this big party and I'm going to be so happy and all these different things I was saying because I didn't like having that student loan burden of debt over my head. But guess what I did after I clicked submit to make my final student loan payment? I didn't have a party. I just said, thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. And got up from my kitchen table and went and got a drink of water and sat back down and did some other stuff. So um, nothing wrong with celebrating my milestones, but you want to make sure you are celebrating responsibly. So that can be a family movie night. If you're one of the people that have, I know where I live, like some people, they have backyards, they have a projector and a screen, and you can do it outdoors. Or if you want to just have a more traditional movie night inside the house, have a gratitude dinner at home. You can have a progress tracker to track where you are in the progress of paying off your debts, or you can share the win publicly. And that's something I did as well. I simply put on my social media pages, I finally paid off my last student loan debt. I'm so glad it's paid in full, etc., etc. So, what I want you to walk away with today is that the fastest way to pay off your debt isn't about finding the perfect formula. It's becoming the kind of person who stays consistent long enough to finish. So, one thing my spiritual father has talked about, or he talked about many years ago, is that we have grace to start things, we have grace to sometimes endure things, but we have to have that grace and endurance to finish as well. So we want to make sure that we're building those habits, those financial habits that will help you to finish strong and pay off those debts so you can get to financial freedom. Because behavior beats brilliance. We may have all the great ideas, but it's our behavior, what we do day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, that is going to make the difference. And your focus intensity is always going to beat any type of scattered effort that you have. And remember that momentum changes everything. So take it from me, someone who personally did this to pay off her student loans, and I had a lot. I don't remember the exact dollar amount, but it was a lot more than I that I care to revisit paying. But yes, we want to have that momentum so we can finish strong and make it to our financial goals. So I hope that this episode has helped you today and you have gotten a lot of value out of it. So if you gained value out of today's episode, I encourage you to like this episode, but also share it with others who in your circle may be ready to make the leap and take the journey towards financial freedom as well. Also, feel free to leave comments below, and I'd love to hear your feedback or where you are in your financial journey. Also, if you would like to take the next steps, visit my website, www.virtuefinancialsolutions.org, and there you can find out about my coaching program, upcoming workshops, and resources to help you in your financial journey. So until next time, remember, you don't just manage your money, you master it.